Hey YouTube, welcome back. Today I'm going to be walking through a clever idea I had about drawboring. And so you normally use drawboring for breadboards on tabletops. So I had this idea come to me. I needed to figure out how I was going to not permanently but temporarily secure a piece to a small piece of furniture that we're making. And so I'm going to show you what my idea is, walk you through it, and show you how I'm going to use the drawboring technique to make a temporary joint pretty secure. So see ya on the other side. All right, so I flipped you around and this is where my joint is. So what I've done so far, if I can get this off with one hand, yeah, we'll get it here. What I have done here is I have glued a domino into this side, so that's permanently secured. And what I want to do is I want to secure this to this piece, but in the event I want to take this off someday in the future, excuse me, I want a way to take this off. But while it's setting in here, I want it to be secure. And so an idea dawned on me that I could probably use the drawboring technique to not only pull this joint tight so that it would be discreet and not noticeable, but also be secure and also be temporary. And so what I'm going to be using are these screws. They are small head trim screws. See if we can get, there we go. So I'm using these are 1.25 inches. And so what is going to happen is that piece is going to set in there, and I'm going to pre-drill a hole where those crosshairs are right there. And I'm going to sink this 1/4 inch screw down through here. And what that's going to do is it's going to go through the outer surface, it's going to go through the domino and into the other side surface. And so that's going to act like a dowel would in a drawboring technique. And so what I'm going to do is like I said, going to pre-drill without the domino in there. And so I'm going to drill a hole straight down. I'm going to put the domino in there. I'm going to take a brad nail. I'm going to mark the domino where the hole is, and I'm going to set back that hole just a little bit like you would in a drawboring technique. And then I'm going to pre-drill a hole through the domino. I'm going to insert the screw into both holes once, just to make sure that I'm not splitting anything. So I'm going to be careful to make sure none of that splitting happens. And then I'm going to insert this into its place and secure the screw. And after that, I should have a pretty secure but temporary joint. So I'll be back. All right, so here I am using a 3/32 of an inch drill bit. And this is, like I mentioned, a number 8 1.25 inch trim head screw. And so I am going to install the drill bit into my drill. And then I am going to line up the drill on my spot that I have marked here on the wood and drill a hole. All right, so I'm through. So I haven't drilled into the other side. And what I want to make sure of is I don't want to drill a super deep hole on the underside of this, because then my screw won't be able to actually grip anything. And so I'm just going to make a small indent with the drill bit so that when this screw comes through, it has some sort of reference to dive into. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the second part of my joint that I'm looking to secure. So I'm going to Put that in the joint. Make sure it's in the spot that I want. I'm going to take this brad nail and I'm going to put it through the hole that I just drilled, and that's going to touch the domino in the joint now. And what I'm going to do is just give it a couple taps so that marks where that domino needs to be drilled at. And so as you can see, we have our little mark there. And so what I'm going to end up doing, if you've never seen the draw boring technique, or maybe you are familiar with it, but what I'm going to do is I am going to set my actual mark a little bit farther back so that when a screw goes through here, it pulls the joint tight. This might pull tight, maybe, but we're not quite sure. So what I'm going to do, if you can see, if I can get that to focus, maybe. See where the O is in the fess tool there? I'm going to put a mark just like about right there. And I'm going to drill my hole. So I'm going to position just slightly back from this, put it about right there. And then I'm going to take my hammer again, and I'm just going to give it a couple taps. And we'll see that we have a new mark on there. It's not a super great mark, but it will do. So now I'm going to take my drill bit. I'm going to put it on my mark that I just made. And drill a hole. So now you can see there we have our hole drilled. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the bit, which is, I believe, a T10 bit. Yep, a T10 bit for these screws that I'm putting in. So I'm going to chuck that into my drill. And here what I'm going to do is I'm just going to thread this through each hole just to make sure that when this screw goes in that I'm not splitting anything. So I'm going to do that quick. Okay, so that one went well. No splitting there, which is good. And now we're going to put it through this one as well. Be gentle. The last thing we want to do is split the wood. So that's looking good. I'm gonna get this screw out. And now for the final thing, I'm going to put our second part of the joint in and secure the screw. And if all goes well, it should pull that joint pretty nicely together. So let's see if our work paid off. Flush with the surface. And there it is. We have our joint, which you can see is fairly concealed, at least it will be to the naked eye. And I'm going to do a little bit of sanding to make it perfect, but when it's secured, you'll never see it. So, went well. So anyway, a quick little video showing one of my clever ideas I had for a piece we're currently working on. I would like to show more of these sorts of things because I think they are probably ideas that more people could use. And one of the frustrations that I find is that when I am working on a project and there is a thing I'm looking to do, a thing that seems pretty commonplace, and I can't find anybody talking about it or any videos on it, anything about it, gets pretty frustrating because it seems like a pretty commonplace issue. Not that people are going to be building this type of furniture that I'm building specifically for this project, but I'm sure there are instances where you could use a screw-based draw boring technique, and I'm hoping that my epiphany with this project helps you think of an epiphany for a future project or a current project for you. So we'll see you on the next video. Thanks.